Anyway, whew, got distracted there. Hi guys, I'm Amy. Welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to be doing a tag video for all of you. It's been a while since I've done a tag, at least it feels that way. I don't know if that's actually true or not, but we're going to be doing the Honest Booktuber Tag. This is a tag that's all about the nitty-gritty of your channel and the things that you may or may not do or may not say. And this tag was created by Harriet Rosie. I'll link her original video down below for all of you. But if you're interested in a tag video about being honest or not so honest, go ahead and keep on watching. Question number 1 from my cheat sheet, of course, because I am old school, is have you ever lied about reading a book? Honestly, no. Not even in school when it was assigned reading did I like write an essay or spark note it. I actually read the book cover to cover. And if someone asks me now, have you read this book? I never lie about whether or not I've read it, and I've never talked about talked about a book on my channel in a way that wasn't truthful, to be honest. Like, I don't do that. I don't know why someone would necessarily, especially in this context, but you know, who knows? To each their own. We're struggling already, so this will be interesting, I have no doubt. Question 2, have you ever avoided a book because of controversy around the content/author? I don't think I've ever avoided a book due to the content of it. The only one that kind of pops into my head is Lolita, but I can't say that's the reason that I haven't read it, because I know a lot of people read it and get a lot out of it. It's just one I haven't given much thought to. And this is something that I've been thinking a lot about lately, because I think we know more and more about the authors whose books we read than we used to. And I will say there's one book that I've avoided, and that's Ender's Game by Orson Scott Card, because he's very outspoken and discriminatory towards a certain group of individuals, which I think is unfair. But it's something that I haven't quite figured out how I feel about the topic. And Olive from A Book Olive kind of mentioned, you know, like, at what point can we separate the artist versus their art? And I think that's kind of up to each and every person, and I don't know if I've actually figured out how I feel about that yet. So maybe a discussion for another day. Question number 3, have you ever been sent a book for free and not disclosed it? No, I haven't, but that's for several reasons. 1, I've never requested a book from a publisher. 2, I've never been asked by a publisher if I wanted a book, and the books that I have received for free have been sent to me from other booktubers, and to my knowledge, I shared with them, or shared with all of you when I hauled it or read it or whatever it was, where the book came from. I'm not sure why you wouldn't disclose it, unless you've talked about it enough times that you just don't feel like you need to keep saying it, and that I don't blame anybody, especially for people who receive a lot of books from publishers. I would say if you want to know whether or not a book was sent to them, watch their hauls, if they do hauls. But no, I haven't ever not disclosed it, but also there's never been a reason for me to hide anything, because I pretty much buy all of my own books. Question number 4, have you ever bought a book with no intention of reading it? Absolutely I have, but that is in a very, very specific sense, and that is that I like to purchase antique books or books that I just think look cool, that I decorate with. Generally they're antique books, or I actually really like the Barnes & Noble, please excuse the lawnmower if you can hear that. It's life, it's spring. Like bind up editions, but I probably will never read them just because they're not comfortable to read, but I think they look pretty. Now, I may get rid of a book I've bought just because I don't think I will read it anymore. I think we all do that. We all will pick up books, and later on at some point in our life we're like, I'm not ever gonna want to read this. I did then, I don't now, and then I'll get rid of it. Although I will say sometimes I buy books knowing that I'm not going to get to them right away, or they're not high on my priority list to get to, but especially as far as the books that I talk about here on my channel and that are on my shelves in my book room, I have every intention of reading them at some point. Question number 5, have you ever got caught up in booktube drama? No, not to my knowledge. I avoid it, and I feel like I mostly avoid it because I do have a Twitter account for this channel, but I don't go on Twitter, really. There are a few select people that I follow, but I think generally Twitter is a really toxic place that has a very finger-pointing, drama-inducing environment that I just don't enjoy, so I just don't engage with Twitter. Honestly, I've been thinking about deleting that account just because I have it, but I don't do anything with it. So I would say no. I don't have any interest in participating in any drama. I will say, for the most part, I feel like BookTube is a pretty happy place on the internet, especially compared to most. But I don't have time for that in my life, and I don't want it in my life, so I just don't engage. That's probably a really lame answer, but the truth. Question 6, did you ever have a hate comment and did you respond? I don't know that I've ever had like an out and out hate comment. I've had inappropriate comments that made me very uncomfortable, that involved me blocking a person, but I didn't respond because for the most part, I would say that I don't respond. If it's just mean, they're not worth the time or the energy it takes to respond to them. And that's just a choice that I make because I think if I do engage, it will get under my skin even more. And frankly, I don't feel like I need to respond. I don't need to engage with them. I know some people feel like they do, and that's to each person their own. I'm not judging anyone else who may respond, but I just choose not to participate. I will say the one type of comment that really frustrates me is when I mention that I don't like a book and someone then decides to explain to me what I missed, which is the reason why I didn't like it. I know a lot of people really, really enjoy The Shepherd's Hut by Tim Winton, and I had a really visceral, raw reaction to that. And I don't think I articulated that well in that wrap-up, the BookTube Prize wrap-up for round 1. But I will say I don't appreciate it when people explain to me what Tim Winton was attempting to do and why things were the way they were, because I did understand that. And I do generally feel like I understand a book. I will tell you if I don't. So that's a bit frustrating when people explain to you a book that you say you don't like and like that's the reason you don't like it because you didn't get it. But I don't think those are hate comments necessarily. I just don't think they're well received from me, or I think the intentions are good, but they just don't translate that way. Does that make sense? Let me know if you're a fellow booktuber and you feel the same way. I would love to know your thoughts on that. Okay, question number 7. Have you ever made a video because you knew it would get views? I have never made a video for that intention alone. If I make a video, it's because I want to make it or I have an interest in making it. I can literally not think of it, because I know if I made like TBR videos, I would get views. But I don't, because I don't like TBRs and they don't work for me. Now, that being said, I have made videos before that I knew would be received well, or I figured would be received well. A perfect example of that was the video in which Erin and I picked out books for each other. And I just figured that people would probably find that pretty fun, but I wanted to do that video, but I figured that a byproduct of that would be that I would probably get a little bit more engagement from my audience and maybe other people who aren't subscribers, but that's not at all why I made that video. And to be honest, I don't think I will ever do that because I do this channel for myself, not for other people, if that makes sense. Other people make it awesome, but this is a hobby for me type of situation. I hope that doesn't sound selfish. Does that sound selfish? Anyway, question number 8. If you could go back to the beginning of your channel, would you do anything differently? Not in the sense of the types of videos that I made or the books that I talked about. I've grown a lot since July 2017 or whenever it was that I first made my channel. My tastes have changed immensely. I feel like I've grown a lot as a reader, but I think honestly the only thing that I would change is I bought so many books initially. Any book that I recognize the title of, I would bring it home with me. And I'm a lot more selective now. I think that's for several reasons. One, I feel like I'm better at picking books I know that I'll like. I feel like I'm better at identifying books I don't think I'll like. And just in general, I'm better at prioritizing books that I want to have on my shelves because it means I will get to them sooner. So maybe that's the only thing, is that I wouldn't go quite so book buying crazy, but I think that's a habit of many booktubers, because new booktubers, because you're new to the platform, you're watching a lot of booktube, you're watching a lot of people talk about a lot of books that all sound really awesome, and you want to read all of them. And that hasn't changed for me now. I've just become more selective, which I think is a positive thing, both for my physical amount of space for books and my wallet. Question number 9, are there any channels you wish you could be more like? I don't necessarily think that there are channels that I wish my channel was more like, but there are some things that I'd like to emulate about people's channels, in the sense that I really appreciate Sean from Sean the Book Maniac. Just reads the books that he wants to read. He reads off the beaten path, so to speak, and I really appreciate that, and I want to have the confidence to just read what I want to read and not feel swayed by it, and I don't feel like Sean is, and I appreciate that about him. I love Doris from Aldi Books, just how warm she is. I hope that I come across warm like Doris, and that would be a goal. Just anyone who comes across as very genuine is what I hope people experience when they come to my channel. People like Chris from Chris Bookish Cauldron, and I want to create a space that people want to come to and engage with me and my content. And in that sense, I want my channel to be like other people's, but my channel is my own. So there are bits of things that I admire in other people's channel, but there's nobody's channel. There's no one channel that I'm like, I wish my channel was that, because my channel's mine. But there are things that I can pick and choose from other people that I think are either successful or what have you, that I think I can add to my channel, if that makes sense. Did I say that a lot? I say that a lot, if that makes sense. It is what it is, I guess. And question number 10, the final question. What's something you love about your channel? I would say what I love about my channel, and I might have mentioned this before, but for the most part, I feel like I read fairly broadly. I don't read as broad as some. I don't read a lot of nonfiction, but I sprinkle it in here and there. Excuse me, I don't read a lot of YA, but I sprinkle it in here and there. But I read a lot of classics. I read a lot of literary fiction, which obviously runs the gamut. I enjoy middle grade. I enjoy the occasional fantasy or even sci-fi, although I haven't read a lot of sci-fi since I started my channel, but I'm wanting to. So I feel like I read pretty broadly, and that I don't have like a type of book. There are Amy books for sure, but I don't think I have one single type. And I work hard on my channel to incorporate as much variety as I can. I'm also thinking about starting a series in which I talk about the books that I read to my preschool kids. So if you guys are interested in that, definitely let me know. I know that's a very small audience, but there might be a few of you out there who would be interested in that. But just in general, I try to read broadly because I think I learn more that way. I improve myself more that way, and I get to hear about and learn about a lot of new different perspectives than my own. And that's a huge reason why I read. I don't know if anyone would agree with that statement, but I feel that way, and I hope and work to just continue to diversify my reading as much as possible. I have a feeling this video is very long because it's very chatty. But since those are all the questions, I'm going to tag a few people. I would really like to tag Jessica at Jessica Reads Things. I'd love to see Chris at Chris Bookish Cauldron. Doris, it'd be great to see Doris do it. There's so many people I'd love to see do this video. If you're interested in doing it, you should do it, because nobody tagged me, at least not to my knowledge. But anyway, if you guys have any thoughts about my comments or different opinions or ideas or perspectives, let me know down in the comments. I love chatting with you there. If you guys like this video, please like it, and if you loved it, please subscribe, and we will see you in my next video. Happy reading. This is my last bit of beverage for the day because we're going to see Endgame this afternoon, and I'm not missing a second of it. which means intentional dehydration. All of the things we do for MCU. Oh, that rhymed. What?